Hi, I was just at the community development budget meeting in front of City Council on June 9th, and I wanted to highlight the comments that I gave them, and I also wanted to highlight two areas of the meeting where I believe the leaders in the department gave unacceptable answers. First, Renee Brooke was asked about existing training, and her answers displayed that she's been incapable of creating a trading program there. Um, and it should be noted that I believe she's been working there almost a decade. Second, George was asked what he thought saw the issues as being, and again, his answers could have been given 5 years ago. He basically said that the laws are the laws and the community can change those. He also said that the charter and council should be guiding the department. For somebody getting paid as much as he is and knowing of the issues and the complaints that are coming down the pipe, he should be presenting detailed, specific plans for improvement to council, to the charter, to the community, and begging to implement those changes. Instead, he's just open for what comes down the pipe. Just not acceptable. So go ahead. I also listed links to their full answers in the description below. But to be honest, watching their full answers just displays more incompetence.
What types of training is available now, and what do you see as a need?
So what I have planned for training, my vision for training, I haven't been able to carry out because I have staff currently assigned to positions that are, we're trying to just get by. We're trying to cover vacancies. So that I haven't been able to carry out the full vision of my training. I did just last year, council approved a reclassification to create a planning analyst position. One of her primary duties will be to develop a training program for the division. Other things have happened though, and but it would be great to be able to have a training manual for each of the sections and have staff be able to refer to that until they, just a really easy, informal atmosphere in the planning division where people can just walk across the hallway and ask their colleague for advice on something. There is an opportunity for people to consult with other planners. I would like though to have training manuals for each of our
permitting process is unpredictable, inefficient, arbitrary. We've seen that in the Cosmon study. We saw it again, reconfirmed in the Novak memo, grand jury report. Are we acknowledging that there is a problem? And aside from our response to these other studies, I really want to hear from you what you see the issues are.
Let me start off by categorizing my responses in two ways. We have structural issues and we have operational issues. With regards to structure, I'm referring to the framework of law that we have that guides what we are obligated to do, and that goes to federal and state law. We are obligated to implement those laws, and so we do. And we don't have a lot of control over that outside of the legislative process. And so with regards to local structural issues, I'm speaking to the charter that's established by the people of the city of Santa Barbara. I believe that it's time to engage in conversation just to check. And I'm not suggesting any sweeping change at this point right now, but I think it would be beneficial for your council, for the community, to engage in that conversation now, because we see concern, we hear complaint with regards to rules that we are implementing, and if they're and also part of the structure. I would welcome the opening up the conversation, but you embrace the idea of being able to look at more long-term issues. What is the vision? Where are we going? And things of this. And that strikes to me to these structural changes. And that's I would welcome that. I think we're at a point in time where it's really good. And so these are the types of things, Councilmember Snedden, that we are prepared to do. We recognize the need, and I would welcome the opportunity.
Our next speaker is Alan Gallegos. Mr. Gallegos, please go ahead.
Hi, Madam Mayor. Excuse me. Hi, Council. Thank you. I hope you guys can hear me. This is a lot to take in, but it's very important, and I appreciate the Council taking this very seriously. I had a question for Laura Dubles, but I wanted to focus on some other areas, so I'll send her an email. I thought it was great that we asked questions to Renee about training, but I felt that the answers were not adequate in my opinion. It felt like, if I were to hear her correctly, that there's no training program today, and there's no training manual today. It's more of a vision that she's hoping to accomplish. And that's kind of unfortunate. You know, it's 2020. You know, I feel like maybe that's okay in the 80s or 90s, but especially with the blowback that's happening today, we should be more prepared there. And then on to Andrew's department. I mean, there's a lot of inconsistencies there. At the counter with inspectors, you hear it all over the building community. You get advice that if something's going south at the counter, pretend to take a phone call, come back in, because you're going to get a different answer every time you come in. It's not consistent. That's a big deal. It sounds like there could be some training issues there. You know, maybe people should be coming in on every other Friday and developing this training plan for the community, pro bono. I mean, just a suggestion. And you know, how to summarize this whole thing. It's just, there's so much to take in. I appreciate everybody's time listening to the building department and their budget, because I can see how hard the work is. But, you know, we have all this blowback in the department and the city administrator for how they're doing their job. This blowback is nothing new. It's been going on for years. I would expect by now they could have proactively come up with a detailed, specific plan to reorganize and provide a better service to our community. Instead, I hear excuse after excuse about what's going on. George just said that the law structure is set up in such a way that he's kind of implying that his hands are tied. Yet another excuse. He is pushing change off to other entities like the local charter. We should see his recommendations polished by now so that the local charter can review, not the other way around. When you have organizations that are not able to provide consistent service to the community and have no real training or process improvement programs in place, I want to remind everybody that that's something that should be happening today. This is 2020, like I said. They have a fee modeler, but no training in place for employees. It's not great optics. I can't support passing an increased budget or a budget at all until they can get those things in line. Thanks.
Okay. And when we come back, we'll ask about what training is in place. Thanks for that. Ms. Gorman?